What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 139. And we start today's episode off with transfer deadline day, and as you can see, to begin the day, we only had around £3.8 million remaining in our budget after loads of signings in this summer transfer window. But an hour into deadline day, this was very interesting indeed. We received confirmation here that Hector has been sold as our 6th choice striker is off for £1.3 million, but that's not the interesting bit of news. We had a bid here from Barcelona for Arthur. They want to take the Brazilian back to Catalonia and put in a bid of £71.7 million for the Brazilian. Now, he's 89 rated in the game and 29 years old now. He's played all three of our starting La Liga games and averaged a 7.3, I think it is, but no goals or assists in his first 3 games. 29 years old, 2 years left on his deal, and Barcelona put in a bid of 71.7 mil, which is around 14.2 mil over his current market valuation. And I really didn't know what to do here, but I thought, you know what, it's transfer deadline day. There's no harm in at least negotiating with Quique Setien and seeing what the Barcelona manager or his representatives would be willing to put in for the Brazilian. But I certainly was not going to undersell him for anything like 75, 80 million. To me, he's worth around 90 to 100. So I said to Barcelona, if you give us £100 million, you can take him. And Barcelona said, yeah, okay, fair enough. And I was like, what? I didn't expect that to happen. Straight away, Barcelona said, yeah, I thought they were going to negotiate with us and we'd agree on a deal of around 85 to 88 million pounds or something like that. But Barcelona just said, yeah, we want Arthur back in our team. So you said £100 million. You can't go back on that now. We're taking him off you. And I was like, well, fair enough. Like, I had a few players on my shortlist we could sign as a replacement, but I did not expect that to happen, as Dominguez was inquired about here, and I just blocked all off at this point. He's had 3 massive bids, but I'm not selling the guy that I've made captain. I really like him. But anyway, 3 hours passed after the initial bid for Arthur, and as you can see, he agreed terms with Barcelona, and he is back playing for his old team. So Arthur goes for £100 million, absolutely massive sale for the Brazilian there, as he goes back to his old team. And, you know, I must say, 29 years old, 89 overall, he's one of the best central midfielders in the game right now. But to get £100 million with a guy who only had 2 years left on his deal, and in those 2 years might begin to show signs of decline, and to get him back to his old club as well, I kind of like that. I thought it was mutually beneficial, really, for both parties. So, yeah, Arthur has gone back to Barcelona. Massive drama in the first few hours as he leaves for £100 million and goes back to his old club. So Arthur goes, and we also had a couple of bids here for Sergio Camelo as well. This is our Spanish 5th choice striker now. We just agreed a new deal with him a couple episodes ago in this summer transfer window to keep him here at the club for longer. He's only 24 years old and 82 rated even, but the thing about Camelo is that the unfortunate thing about Camelo is that there are 4 strikers that are ahead of him right now that are much better in quality. So whilst he's really good and still a very young man at 24 years old, he's never going to get a game in this side because he's behind Ivan Toney, 4-time Golden Boot winner, João Felix, one of the best players in the world, and then Tammy Abraham, who's just been signed by the former AI manager, and Briel Imbolo as well. So poor old Camelo, he's a very good player, but he'll never get to play. So I thought, you know what, we just agreed a new contract with you, but if you want to go, I'm okay to let you go. We agreed a deal of £35 million with Tottenham Hotspur, as Pochettino is now working as their financial advisor for some reason, but we couldn't agree a deal there, but Spurs already accepted a £35 million deal, so I said that would be totally fine. So yeah, Camelo leaves with 2 hours on the clock to Tottenham Hotspur for £35 million. Again, kind of sad about that because I would have liked to have used him. He is a homegrown player as well out of the Atletico Madrid Academy, but unfortunately he's just not going to get a game against the other 4 strikers in our team right now, so I thought it was best to let him go elsewhere for a fresh start. Maybe he'll come back one day, but Camelo has gone. So after the huge sale of Arthur for £100 million, Camelo for £35 million, and Hector, don't forget, for £1.3 million. We'd raised around £136.3 million for the trio there, and that gave us around £114 million on our budget. So lots of money to work with on transfer deadline day. I was not expecting this to happen, but with 2 hours to go, we had to get to work quickly. I looked at my shortlist, my massive shortlist, and I looked down the list and I thought, this is the guy I want. Now, he's not a central midfielder, but I really want to bring this guy in. It's Mikel Oyarzabal of Juventus, formerly, of course, of Real Sociedad, but valued at £70 million, one of the best players in the Serie A. We saw him when we were managing Roma. We know how good this guy is, and I want him as part of my Atletico Madrid side, and I believe in Season 1 as well. He was the second highest scorer, or perhaps the third highest scorer in the Golden Boot race too. Might be wrong about that, but either way, looks absolutely fantastic, and a Spanish player, 28 years old, in the prime of his life, valued at 90 rated right now, valued at £70 million. I knew it was going to cost an absolute fortune to get hold of him, and after a lot of back and forth negotiating with Juventus here, I mean, this took absolutely ages. We eventually managed to agree on a deal of £75.5 million plus Thomas Lemar, the Frenchman. And the reason I included Lemar in the deal is because he's got 2 years left in his contract right now, but he's 29 years old, so he's a year older than Oyarzabal. And this guy, Thomas Lemar, has had a lot of criticism this season from Atletico Madrid fans for underperforming. There were, of course, a lot of rumours he was going to leave the club in the January transfer window, with Arsenal being strong favourites to sign him. In the end, he stayed at the Metropolitano, but, of course, him being a year older than Oyarzabal, 3 ratings lower, and we've got Zykankov on the bench as well. We weren't going to need all 3 of these guys, so I was okay parting with Lemar. In the end, we agreed a deal of 4 years on his contract. He did take a wage cut of 50 grand a week. Now, I know some of you guys might be thinking, hang on a minute, you don't really do wage cuts, but it was a lot less of a wage cut than his initial offer, which was £130,000, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But either way, £200,000 a week, I'd say is still a pretty realistic contract to have there on a 4-year deal, a big sign-on bonus too, and Mikel Oyarzabal signs on transfer deadline day for £75.5 million plus Thomas Lemar, and I'm absolutely buzzing about it as well. He's one of the best Spanish players in the world right now. We need this Spanish core, and this guy to replace Thomas Lemar, again, a year younger, but 3 ratings high, with 99 finishing, 94 long shots, 93 dribbling as well. This guy should be scoring goals and setting them up as well. So I'm absolutely buzzing to have him in. High medium work rates, 3-star, 3-star. Could play on either side of the wing. And as we've seen with Carl Soler, since he's come into the side, he scored a couple of really nice goals for us. I am thinking about swapping Soler to the left-hand side, so he can shoot and cut in from the left to shoot on his right. And Oyarzabal playing on the right-hand side to cut in and shoot on his left to capitalise their good finishing stats. I guess we'll have to wait and see. For now, Oyarzabal will play on the preferred left-hand side with Soler on the right, but it is something worth considering. If we want to play with inside forwards like we do with Roma, I'm not against swapping these 2 players around, as I know they can operate on either side of the pitch. So yeah, Oyarzabal is in. Lemar goes to Juventus for a fresh start in Italy, and we still had around £38 million in our transfer budget as well after the signing of Mikel, and that's why I included Thomas Lemar in the swap deal too, because we weren't going to need Lemar. We weren't going to need Lemar if we signed Oyarzabal. One of Lemar or Zykankov could go, and with Lemar being the older player, I was okay letting him go and keeping Zykankov here for the bench. So yeah, still some money left in our transfer budget with a couple hours to go to sign a new replacement central midfielder for Arthur. And there were 2 players that I really wanted to get hold of. They're not Spanish players, but they're former players. Riccardo Orsolini of Roma, who was Ivan Toney's right-hand man at the Stadio Olimpico. I really wanted to bring him to the Metropolitano. Yes, he's 28 years old now, 85 overall, so he could replace Arthur, but he had such a great partnership with Ivan Toney in the 2 years we had them together at the Stadio Olimpico. But unfortunately, Roma just would not let him go for anything less than £42 million, which I was gutted about because that was just a little bit above our price range. I was trying to include a sell-on clause there and get him for around 35 mil his valuation, but Roma said, no way, man, seriously. Last year, this guy was second in the assist charts in the Serie A. In the first season you were here with Orsolini, when he went down, our season imploded. That's how good he is. We're not going to let Riccardo go with you to Atletico Madrid. So I said, all right, fair enough. Do you know what? You're my former team, but I still love you. So you can keep Orsolini. Gutted about it, because I love him back, but I had another target, and it was this man right here, Barry Walsh! Barry Walsh of Sheffield United, valued at £28 million, which is the deal we agreed with the Blades, plus a 25% sell-on clause as well. Had to include that huge sell-on clause there because we still love the Blades. We still want to help them out if we can, so a massive sell-on clause as part of the deal as well. And as I sat Barry Walsh down, I said, Barry, it's been 2 long years with you being away from myself, Ivan and Ollie. You stayed stayed relatively loyal to Sheffield United, stayed there for the 2 years, other than a mini loan spell in France for God knows what reason. But we agreed a deal of 5 years, a rotation squad role, so I'm not sure whether he'll come off the bench for Ricky or start, but a £60,000 weekly wage, and Barry Walsh is back in my life, and I love the number he decides to take as well. I said, Barry, what number do you want, mate? I showed him the vacant ones, and he said, Gaffer, I want number 39. And for those of you that have been watching since the very beginning, or when Barry Walsh came out of the academy at least, you'll know why he's taken 39. It's because that's the number he wore in his first season with Sheffield United when he came out of the academy, burst onto the stage and made his mark. Oh, Barry, 22 years old, 83 rated, high medium work rates, left mid, as we know, can play centrally, left-footed player, only a 2-star weak foot, but 5-star skill moves. And technically, this guy is so good. Now, this guy is not a physical player, and you guys know I like my physical players, but when it comes down to passing the ball, keeping hold of the ball, with dribbling, he's very good at doing that. He's very good as a deep line playmaker or an advanced playmaker. Just a really good central midfielder and a good passer of the ball. Good vision as well. I don't know whether he's going to take Ricky's place in this starting 11 or not, or we have Ricky starting and Barry coming off the bench. Now, Walsh is 4 years younger than Ricky, but he's also 3 ratings lower at 83 overall. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comment section down below how you think we should manage this situation here. Do we start Barry or do we start Ricky? I don't know. I think to begin with, we'll start Barry, but I'm not too sure. Ricky, I think at 86 overall, now that Arthur is gone, would like to be considered as a starting 11 player. So maybe we'll just rotate the two between the entire season and try and keep them both with an even amount of game time. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But for now, Barry's going to go into our starting 11. Barry, Ivan and Ollie, the trio back together, absolutely love it. So after the signing of Barry Walsh, we still had some money left over on transfer deadline day of around £9.5 million. So there was still some signings to get here, and there were a couple of youngsters I wanted to sign. One was this guy right here, Michael Prats Bastidas. Now we already have a Prats Bastidas that we signed from Valladolid, I think it was. So a young goalkeeper, but this is a young striker with high work rates. He's absolutely rapid, and doesn't this guy just remind you of a young Fernando Torres? With the pace he's got, I must say, I see a young Fernando Torres in this guy. And as he comes in here on a 12 grand a week deal, 69 rated, 21 years old, but again, 95 acceleration, shows great potential. Like with Antonio Barai, the only reason this guy's rating, his overall rating is so low, is because his finishing stat is laughably low at, I think it's like 50 something, which is just stupid. So like with Barai, all we got to do is train that finishing stat, and this guy is going to grow in overall rating very quickly indeed. So he comes in, Prats Bastidas, high work rates. You know I love the high work rates. But yeah, Prats Bastidas, we had one goalkeeper called Prats Bastidas, now we've got his brother as well. So Prats Bastidas, the striker, is him. The young Fernando Torres, perhaps. And also, we agreed a deal here with Real Sociedad for Daniel Cuenca Barreno. This is a 69 rated 19-year-old goalkeeper. Just because we included our 28-year-old goalkeeper in that swap deal there with Milan. So I wanted a third choice goalkeeper. You know, in career mode, you can make do with 2 goalkeepers for an entire season. You know, sometimes you can make do with 1 because goalkeepers rarely ever get injured or suspended in career mode. So yeah, we don't really need 3 goalkeepers, but I just wanted to bring one in, I guess for realism's sake more than anything else, but also of course because there's no harm in having more young Spanish talent here, which of course what we want to do, like we do with Roma, like we do with Sheffield United in the British core. So yeah, we get a new goalkeeper there, 19 years old, he'll go into our reserves. And also as well, we agreed a deal here with RB Leipzig for Adrian Lajoubries. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but Adrian Lajoubries. This is a backup left back, just because we didn't have a backup left back for Ollie Shaw, and we agreed a deal with RB Leipzig, very cheap deal, a 10 grand a week contract on a 5-year deal as well. He's only 19 years old, but 68 rated. But the frustrating thing about him and the backup goalkeeper Cuenca Barreno that we signed there, as you see our budget goes down to £6.1 million after those 2 signings, is that when I was looking at them in the transfer list, they both showed great potential, but when we signed them, they lost the potential tags, which is really annoying. And of course, you know, sometimes that can happen in career mode. You can sign players and their potential goes up, but then you can sign players and their potential goes down. Unfortunately, we were quite unlucky there. Both of those players got signed. They did previously show great potential, and now they show nothing whatsoever. But in the end, that was it for transfer deadline day. 5 new signings on transfer deadline day. A massive £100 million sale as well. Oh my word, I did not expect it. I did not expect it one bit. Heading into deadline day with around £3.8 million in our budget, I was like, yeah, we might sell one player, we might sign one player, but I don't think much is going to happen. And then bang! £100 million deal for Arthur, £35 million for Camelo. Right, let's splash the cash, baby. So yeah, 5 new signings coming in. And I must say, even though we were going to miss Arthur, it was the biggest deal of the window for £100 million. I think after spending £400 million on bringing in some new players and getting $318 million for our sales as well, we made some big gambles, but I prefer the team as it is now. You know, Arthur goes, sad about that. Lamar is gone as well as part of the Oyarzabal deal. But I really do like the look of Oyarzabal. I can't wait to use him because he did so well in one of my Who to Sign For episodes with Chelsea, I think it was. And, you know, I know this guy at 90 overall did so well for Juventus in the Serie A during our time at Roma. I think he's going to do really well here as well. But you look at the list of departures here, so many of them being in their mid to late 20s. And the players that came in as well, a lot of them very young, talented players or players that right now are in the prime of their careers. I just feel like with a Spanish core being assembled here. Yes, of course, we signed some foreign nationals like Aya, the Italian, Tony and Shaw, the English players, Walsh, Northern Ireland as well. For the most part, most of the players we brought in were Spanish. Atletico, like Roma, wanted us to build a core, a set assembled mainly of players that can play for the same country as the club. They like players that can play for the club and country, which would be a really good name for a series, club and country, wouldn't it? But, you know, I really like the potential of the squad now, because before we came in, there wasn't really any young talents that excited me. Now we got several. When you think about the players that are 22 or perhaps 23 and younger, you got Emmanuel Aya, Ollie Shaw, the centre-back Mia Martinez with potential to be special, Lopez Huesca, the Icelandic Cam, Yartansen, Barry Walsh coming in as well. I just really like the team we've got now, not just for the present, but also for the future as well. And in my opinion, it's better and it's younger and it's got more Spanish players in it, as opposed to the team that we inherited as well. We made some big gambles in this summer transfer window, but I really like the team we've got here, and we're set up for a very exciting first season at Metropolitano with lots of young talent and a really good squad to begin our adventure with Atletico Madrid. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So a big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy today's episode, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon, featuring our first Champions League game with Atletico Madrid away in Ukraine against Dynamo Kiev.